Plaintiff Willie Wooford met the defendant when they were both incarcerated, and he says the defendant was the go-to man in prison. Willie claims the defendant got him everything he needed while incarcerated, but he's suing him today for the cost of a van. Defendant Michael Jones says after he fought in military combat, he became addicted to cocaine, and as a result, he ended up in prison. Michael admits he and Willie were good friends, but he denies owing him for the van.
Start with you.
Oh, yeah, and I met Mike back in 2001, briefly, but I went to jail, prison, in 2005. When I got to prison, Michael Jones was already there. He was the man right there. Whatever you need, you had to go through Mike.
He was the man in prison.
Yeah, he was the man. So he, well, it's the man, the street term, it's the man, the guy you go to, the go-to man for prison. So Mike put me up under his wings. We got a little closer, maybe prison pals. We got closer, you know. Not prison pals like that, but we was prison pals.
You the one who put it like he put his arms around you.
I said he put me under his wing.
He said, we got real close. We was like this and...
No, not like that, Your Honor, not like that.
I thought that's what you did.
He put me on this wing as a street term. Put me on this wing. Yeah, so Mike was pretty much, he was the man in jail. Everything you need, he was the head cook. He was a trustee.
Please don't tell me he used to make you braid hair. You know, I know you.
No, none of that, Your Honor, none of that. No, he kept it fair. Mike, good guy in jail. He was the man. Whatever you need, you had to go through Mike. He was the head cook and he was a trustee.
Okay.
And we was locked down like 23 hours. Mike was out of the cell maybe 18 hours.
Okay.
So Mike got out of jail, I got out of jail. We kept in touch. We was both living in Hollywood. I went through a divorce in 2008. Mike was right there for me. If I needed a girl or anything, you know, Mike was there. I moved to Palmdale, maybe 2 hours away. Mike, he was still a guy. Seen my kids in the neighborhood, he'd go through there, do everything. Mike was like a brother figure. Until I bought this lemon van from him.
Let me allow him to give some background on your friendship. Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, I met Chicago, like you said, in 2005 in the system.
Why do they call you Chicago? Why was that your street name? You from Chicago?
LA cats gave me that name.
Oh, okay. LA guys gave you the Chicago. That's what they do, call each other by the name of the city. Yeah. Sure do.
So, Your Honor, I went for possession of cocaine, right? My military background, when I was with 82nd Airborne, Grenada, and in Germany, the Cold War, when the wall was still up. So to deal with my fear and my stress, I started using cocaine.
After you returned?
After I returned, I got out in 87. When I got out in 87, I continued in my habits, and I ended up catching the case, and that's where I met him at. All right, so
how long were you incarcerated?
For 2 years.
2 years?
Yes, sir, 2 years.
For possession of cocaine, and instead of getting you treatment, it throw you in jail.
Yeah, that's how Los Angeles is.
And about 1/3 of all soldiers who come from combat become drug or alcohol addicted. That's an absolute fact.
Yeah.
About 1/3. So 3 out of 10 who come back from combat are drug or alcohol addicted. Nobody said go get drug treatment. That didn't come up. No. The prosecutor didn't suggest that. Did your lawyer ask for it?
No. Probably defendant, pretender, you know.
Public pretender, you call him. That's terrible. That's terrible. People just need to know that. All right.
Okay.
So I'm glad you were able to overcome it. Obviously, you stayed in prison for 2 years. You look good.
I came out.
Sound good, and so God bless you.
I came out and started my
what kind of company?
Construction.
All right.
Okay, here in St. Louis. So I continued to help him with everything. I went through his divorce with him, helped him through that. Financially, when he was hungry or whatever he needed money for, I would do it for him because he was my buddy.
Good.
Right? So he ended up moving in with my sister. All right, and so she was helping him. And come to find out, she was helping him more than I was, you know.
How so? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And other than that, he's just been a good friend, and now he's trying to change, you know. He's been blessed now, you know.
All right, tell me about the car that you're suing him for.
Okay, I gave Mike Jones $1,700 for a 1985 Astro minivan. He assured me that nothing was wrong with it but an oil change and a tune-up. So I get downtown LA, Mike called me and say, it's a key to my Volkswagen, one of his cars on your key ring. So when I bring the van back to Hollywood where me and Mike stayed at, it never stopped smoking. Never stopped smoking, all smoke everywhere. I called Mike up.
You sure that wasn't residue? For Mike? You sure it wasn't residue for Mike? Mike said it. Oh, no. Mike said he was smoking that stress away, down. No, he had quit long time ago by then. I'm just messing with you. Go ahead.
Okay, Your Honor, the van had never stopped smoking, so when Mike came over there to the rescue, we took the van back to his mechanic. The mechanic said that it blew a head gasket. Later on, 2-3 minutes later, threw a rod. I said, nothing I can do, Mike. Y'all go jump the van.
Now, how long
Right
after you began driving it did this happen?
Maybe about 30 minutes, if that.
The same day?
The same day. When the van broke down, Mike gave me $50 to get home.
Sir, what do you have to tell me about
Your Honor,
this?
when I sold him the van, I had numerous of people who wanted the van. This is my personal van, so I've had it for a while, and it wasn't nothing wrong with it. So he begged me to sell it to him for $1,700. I told him that I was selling it to him as it is, but you need to get an oil change in the tune because it's been sitting up too long. All right? He takes the van. About an hour and a half later, he calls me and tells me it's running hot. I say, pull over. Tell me where you at. I'm on my way. So when I get there, there's no water in the van. Okay? So we put water in it. It stopped smoking. All right? So I said, just take this truck to my mechanic because it shouldn't have smoked on you. So mechanic say, Mike, well, I charge you $1,600 to fix the van. So from that point on, me and him didn't talk or say anything to him.
And your
that
defense
situation.
is you sold it to him as is,
Correct.
right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. How long did he drive it? From the time you sold it to him and the time the engine went out? He says a half hour,
No,
hour and a
you know,
half.
L.A. from Watts is 45 minutes.
All right,
I
but
said,
same
okay,
day.
yeah. I'll
He said,
couple
all
a
right,
few
my
hours.
fault.
Yeah.
I'll give you 15 more minutes. Forgive me.
I give him. He kept it for a few hours.
It certainly wasn't any more than a day or a week or 2 weeks.
No, not at all.
So what do you think happened?
What I think
Between
happened-
the time you sold it to him and the time it broke down 45 minutes later?
I think what happened was that he didn't check the fluid, the water in there, and right, so and the car overheated, okay, because there was no water in there when he told me it was smoking.
Causing it to what?
To overheat, and usually you blow a thermostat or the water pump is out, okay?
What could have happened between the time he got the car and 45 minutes later?
That's what I don't know. The car set, Your Honor, for a couple of months, you know, so I can't say.
My point is, yes, it was an as-is transaction, but there are a couple of things that are exceptions. One, if it was fraud, just a straight-out lie, that's fraud. Misrepresentation, not an overt lie, but you're misrepresenting the condition. The assumption is that it operated. Unless you tell them, this car won't operate. I'm going to sell you this car, but the car is inoperable. You won't make it 45 minutes in this car. Did you tell him that?
No, Your Honor.
That's what I'm saying. Because if he'd have told you the car don't operate for 45 minutes,
I went and bought it.
you have to give him his money back. You gave him something that didn't operate, and you sold it under the assumption that it operated.
Yes.
$1,650 is your judgment. Good luck to you guys.
Your Honor, thanks, Your Honor. I told you I was gonna get you, Mike, man. We still buddies. We still buddies, man.
Man, love.
Still buddies.
Still buddies.